As the country ages towards another set of elections in 2026, Uganda's seemingly endless quest for electoral reform has again hit the center stage of discussion, with various legislators recently showing intentions to present proposed amendments in the electoral laws.
I would like to urge you to ask the Land Attorney General to...
Former leader of opposition in Parliament MPUUGA has also joined the long queue. MPUUGA aims to establish and reinstate presidential term limits in the Presidential Elections Amendment Bill 2024 to promote a smooth handover of power and guarantee free and fair elections.
One of the key areas for the Constitution Amendment is restoration of term limits. We've spoken about that variously. Is something that I think has bedeviled this nation. Term limits were the minimum consensus of the 1995 Constitution. Remember, the predicate of that Constitution was to give this country a chance for the very first time in our history to change leadership through a free and fair process. Because the major failure of the 1967 Constitution was failure to enable the country to transition.
The Nyendo Mukungwe legislator in his amendment intends to reduce the number of MPs in Parliament to 146 directly elected MPs, 146 women members of Parliament, and 10 MPs for each of the nation's 10 cities through the Parliamentary Elections Amendment Bill 2024.
I'm proposing that instead of having county MPs, we shall have a directly elected member of Parliament for each district. Can be a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. So currently you'll have only 146 directly elected members of Parliament. Then we shall retain the women members of Parliament. So then you'll have 146 plus 146 plus 10 from the cities.
MPUUGA wishes to switch to proportional representation for elections of women representatives to the legislature.
But also I'm proposing that the women members of Parliament should be elected by proportional representation. Where? For every party that has gotten a vote and in Parliament, they will have a chance to have a woman MP in Parliament. If you are NUP and you get 50% of the national vote, you should have 50% of the women in Parliament. If you are JEMA and you get 10%, I'm not saying JEMA is worth 10%, don't get me wrong. They should have 10% of women in Parliament.
On establishment of Upper House, MPUUGA expounds that the Upper House will be chaired by the Deputy President, who will appear on the same ballot as the President, with both representing different regions of the country.
Using an idea to have a second tier of Parliament, the Upper House. And the Upper House will be chaired by a Deputy President, who in my proposal will be on the ballot with the President. The idea of a President simply appointing a Vice President to attend the funerals must stop. We must have a constitutional provision for a Deputy President elected on the same day with the President. And I'm proposing the President and the Deputy should not come from the same region. We'll chair the Upper House, and the Upper House, like I'll propose later in detail, will have only 39 members from the original 39 districts before the making of the 95 Constitution.
MPUUGA's intended amendments also seek to extend the time frame within which presidential election petitions should be presented to court, and also allow any registered voter to challenge presidential election results.
Now, if you want to take care of the malfeasance that comes with, for example, arresting a candidate, remember the Honorable Kyagulanyi was held indoors under house arrest when he was supposed to go to court. Dr. Besigye in 2016 was held at his residence, was supposed to petition. I want us to amend the Constitution further and the Presidential Elections Act to say that even a registered voter can petition.
The proposed bill also allows prisoners and people in the diaspora to vote through establishment of voting centers in each country where Uganda has a mission. Furthermore, a decentralized result declaration is suggested in the proposed amendment. Instead of sending the results to the Electoral Commission in Kampala, the amendment would require the returning officer to declare the results of the presidential election at the district level. John William Uganda, Freddy Chris Chisawo for BTM News Today.